Hello everyone and welcome to the WCG for the official opening of the 2023 Australia Day T20 Big Bash, which sees the playoff for a spot in this year's group stage, with last year's quarterfinalists taking on the 2020 quarterfinalist 60 Grit to book a spot in Group C. And just to explain a little further as to why we have a playoff in this year's edition, 60 Grit pulled out of last year's tournament with taking their place. So with 60 Grit back in the frame, there's only one way to settle this tie. And as you can see on your screens, the winner of this playoff will move into Group C with last year's defending champions, How's That, and two-time champions, Nice Gary, with the loser of this contest out at the very first hurdle. The captains are in the middle and ready for the toss. Good luck, lads. The playoff, lowest ranked the core. It's a flat. So the taking over skipper Michael Mabry has won the toss and he's elected to send 60 Grit into bat. So as we take a look at the lineups for this contest, it's as you were for taking over from last year's tournament. The side will be skippered by Michael Mabry once again, who's coming off a pretty impressive showing for Brennan's 11 in this year's Test Series and will enter this tournament full of confidence. He'll be joined by Aaron Gardner, who was impressive in last year's T20 tournament, and rounding out the side is TJ English. As we take a look at the 60 Grit lineup, they'll be skippered by Mark Pasterfield once again, who had a decent Test Series with Match 11 himself. It'll be Darren Day who lines up for the men in purple in this year's edition, and he'll be joined by Chris Mendham. And just before we get underway, we'd like to thank our major partner for this year's tournament, Better Beer, who have been fantastic since jumping on board. It's always a day for it here at the WCG. So two teams, one spot in the group stage up for grabs. It's time to get this playoff underway. And it will be Darren Day who will get this tournament underway with the blade, making his debut at the Australia Day T20 Big Bash tournament after debuting for Match 11 in this year's Test Series. Can he get the men in purple off to the start they desire? So the winner moves into Group C, the loser out, and it's going to be Aaron Gardner today first up. Here he's in now, this one's a full delivery, and it's a play and a miss first up here from Day. So a good start with the ball here from Gardner and taking over in this playoff as this slips under Day's bat. Gardner to continue over the wicket here in the opening over. Here he's in now, and this one's another good delivery. This length has been pulled back slightly, and it beats Day outside the off stump. So 2 dots to begin the innings here for Day and 60 Grit. As Gardner is in once again to him now. This one's a fuller delivery, and Day gets every bit of this as he slaps it over cover for the first runs of the tournament. It's a maximum to get off the mark. 60 Grit are away. So a confidence booster there for Day and 60 Grit as Gardner decides to go around the wicket now, and this one hits Day on the body and it falls down beside him for no run. So just a reminder, it's 4 5-ball overs, which makes up the 20 deliveries here in each innings. As Gardner is in for the final ball of the opening over. Here it's a full toss and there's a slight appeal here from taking over. Here the skipper in particular was very interested. Let's take a look. Oh, close call to end the first over. It's going to be TJ English to bowl the second over of the innings. Here he's in now to Day, and this one's a full delivery, driven down the ground, and he gets a hand to it, English, but he can't stop it from going to the boundary. Day moves into double figures, and 60 Grit are away, 10 without loss. So a good start to T20 cricket here for Darren Day, as English is in once again to him now. It's another full delivery played towards Mabry, who I think has dropped a catch, and furthermore, this has gone all the way for a maximum. Darren Day races to 16. A chance gone begging there for taking over, as English will bowl again now too, and this one's a good delivery. The length pulled back on this one, and he defends to Mabry for no run. The English will continue again now to Day, and I think that's a plain miss, as he goes for a big flash outside the off stump, but doesn't make contact. So English is in for the final ball of the second over. Here he's in now, this one's a full delivery, played uppishly towards him, and he's dropped one off his own bowling. So they've dropped 2 catches in the over here of taking over, and how costly will they prove to be? 16 without loss after 2. It's going to be the skipper Michael Mabry to bowl the third over of the innings. Here he's in now to Day around the wicket. It begins with one that he pushes down the leg side, and that'll be a wide and have to be re-bowled. So the first sundry of this year's tournament, as Michael Mabry opts to go back over the wicket now. Here, and this one's a full delivery, and I think this hits Day on the boot, and he's going to move through for a leg bye. So good stuff this here for 60 grit. There's 17 without loss here, with 9 deliveries left in the innings. So they'll be hoping to get in excess of that 30-run mark. Here is Mabry will continue again now to Day in the third over. Here he's in now, and this one's another one. He's pushed down the leg side, and this will be another wide. So 60 grit now 18 without loss. Darren Day 16 not out. So a good platform of which to launch into this back end of the innings. As Mabry's in once again to Day, and this one's hammered down the ground, but I think this has been stopped by Mabry, or this might have crashed into the bowling end stumps. Here, let's have a look. He's hammered at Day. Yeah, it has, and it's prevented a boundary. Unlucky for Day. Mabry to continue over the wicket here in the third over. Here he's in now. This one's a good length delivery, and Day can only manage to hit this to Gardner on the leg side for no run. So a priceless dot there for taking over. As Mabry's in once again to Day, and once again he can't get it past Gardner on the leg side. So it's back-to-back dots. So Mabry's in for the final ball of the third over, and once again it's played to Gardner, and once again it's stopped to end with. 20 without loss with 1 to go. So it's going to be Aaron Gardner to bowl the final over of the innings. He's in now round the wicket here to Day, who slaps this on the offside, but it's a brilliant bit of fielding there by TJ English at cover, who prevents a certain boundary. He's been slightly unlucky at times with the bat here, Day, but he's still going. 60 grit, 21 without loss, as Gardner will continue around the wicket here in the final over, and this one's a back of a lane delivery, and I think Day's hit this over the fence. Yeah, he has. That's the first wicket of the tournament, and Day has to go for a well-made 18. 60 grit, 1 for 21 in the final over. So it's been a pretty good fight back with the ball from taking over in the last few minutes, as that wicket now brings the skipper Mark Passerfield to the crease at number 2. Can he get a few away to the boundary to get his side up towards that 30 mark? So it's going to be Aaron Gardner to continue over the wicket here in the final over. Here he's in now. This one's a full delivery, and I think this one goes between Mark Passerfield's legs and goes through to the keeper. So an important dot there for taking over, as I think Passerfield might be, yeah, he's changing bats. Let's see if he can wield the willow and get a few to the boundary. His side 1 for 21 here in the final over. That would probably like a few more. Here's Gardner will continue in the final over, and I think this one hits Mark Passerfield on the body, and it drops down on the leg side, and he's going to move through for a leg bye. So 60 grit move along to 1 for 22 as we arrive at the final ball of the innings. Can Passerfield get one away to the boundary to push him above 25? Here's Gardner's in now, and he's pulled his length back slightly. He's got a top edge Passerfield, and this one goes over the fence. So it's a brilliant fight back with the ball here from taking over to end the innings. Gardner ends with 2 for 8, and it's 23 to get for taking over. So 60 grit could only manage 6 runs off the final 10 deliveries of the innings. In a brilliant fight back with the ball for taking over, 60 grit finished 2 for 22 after their 20 deliveries. Day made 18, Gardner finished with 2 for 8, and it's 23 to get for last year's quarterfinalists for a spot in this year's group stage. So it's going to be the skipper, Michael Mabry, who will get this run chase underway for taking over. Made important runs throughout this year's test series for the men in blue. Can he get taking over off to the start they need in this run chase? So it's 23 or bust for last year's quarterfinalists, and it's going to be skipper v skipper for the first over as Passerfield's into Mabry. Here he's in now, and it's a full delivery. Mabry gets a thick inside edge, but he can't beat Mendham there at mid-wicket. So a dot ball to begin with here for 60 grit. Here's Passerfield will continue in the opening over. Here's this one's a full delivery, and it's another inside edge there from Mabry, but this one flies away to the boundary. So they're off and running here in the run chase. Sorry, it's a full toss, and it's well dispatched, to be fair, by Mabry. So taking over, no wicket for 4 in the run chase. Here's Passerfield is in again now, and this is cut away, but it's well stopped by Darren Day, who moves swiftly to his left to make the stop. So high stakes here in this playoff, with the winner to move into this year's group stage. The loser is out, as Pasterfield is in once again to Maybury. Oh, and it's a full delivery, and it's a plain miss there from Maybury. I wonder how close this was to the off stump. Oh, that cannot have been far away. So Pasterfield in for the final ball of the opening over. Here's this one's a short delivery, cut away on the offside, and this one beats Day on this occasion. So it's 2 boundaries in the opening over here for Maybury. He races to 8. His side no wicket for 8 after 1. It's going to be Chris Mendham to go around the wicket here for the second over. Here he's in now, and this one's a back of a length delivery, and it's a swing and a miss here from Maybury as this one flies through to the keeper. So a priceless dot there for 60 Grit. Taking over no wicket for 8 after 6 deliveries. As Mendham will continue here in the second over, and he's pushed this one wide outside the off stump. Yeah, and this one has been caught wide. So that one will have to be re-bowled. Another one added to the total here for taking over. As Mendham is in once again to Maybury. It's a full toss played away on the leg side, and it's well stopped there from Mark Pasterfield to prevent a boundary. So Maybury will be disappointed with that one. He would have thought he could have put that away. They move along to 10. So 13 to get here for the men in fluoro. As Mendham will continue around the wicket here to Maybury, who has a flash outside the off stump. Oh, and I think he's got an edge trick to the keeper. He's walked. That's a big moment here in this playoff. The skipper goes. Yeah, he gets a tickle, a toe end of the bat, and he has to go for 9. It's 1 for 10. Well, a big moment there for 60 Grit in this playoff. And that wicket now brings Aaron Gardner to the crease at number 2. Was fantastic for his side with the ball in the first innings. Can he stand up with the blade here? He'll have to face Chris Mendham first up, who will continue around the wicket in the second over. He's in now. This one's a good length delivery. Played back down the ground. He sets off for a single, and he gets through comfortably. Good bit of running there from Gardner, who picked the gap nicely there, and he's off the mark with a single. So Mendham in for the final ball of the second over. In now to Gardner, and this one's a full toss, but has been let go by the umpire. 1 for 11 after 2. It's going to be Darren Day to bowl the third over of the innings. Here he's in now to Gardner, to back of a length delivery, and Gardner has hammered this down the ground for a maximum. It's set up nicely for Gardner, who has just swatted this down the ground. Well, another maximum will do it here for taking over. As Day is in once again to Gardner. It's a full toss, hammered down the ground for a boundary. They're nearly there taking over. Gardner standing up with the blade as well. It's 2 to get. So 60 Grit are on the brink of an early elimination. As Day is into Gardner once again and he beats him inside his body and just misses the leg stump. It's a good bit of bowling there from Day, and he's unlucky. So 2 to get here from 7 deliveries for taking over. Day is in once again to Gardner. It's another short delivery, and there it is. It has been swatted again from Gardner for a maximum. Taking over, have won the playoff here by 2 wickets. They move into the group stage. 60 Grit are out at the first hurdle. Aaron Gardner finishes 17 not out in a man of the match performance. And last year's quarter-finalists are heading back to the main draw. So taking over have prevailed here in this playoff by 2 wickets against 60 Grit. It was a reasonably comfortable victory in the end, as they did it with 6 balls to spare. Aaron Gardner, the star of the show, finishing with 2 wickets and 17 not out to get the Fluoros home and into this year's group stage. So as you can see on your screens, their prize is a spot in Group C, and what a group this is shaping to be. They will join 3-time and defending champions How's That and the 2-time champions Nice Gary in what could be called the group of death for this year's edition. And we look forward to some tasty fixtures in that group. So the tournament configuration is set as we look ahead to match 1 of the group stage, and what a blockbuster we've got to begin the tournament. These 2 sides will meet for a 3rd consecutive tournament as last year's grand finalists, the Nif Nuffs, take on 2021 champions Young Money Cash Money to get us underway in Group A.